Hi everybody. Jamie, do you want to kick us off, please?
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, David.
Morning, Jamie.
Just start off with a bit of team news. Anyone unavailable for Sunday?
Well, I'll need to check, Jamie. We're just up and about and going to start again. So we know, as far as I know, everybody came through the game fine last night.
Just how important is squad rotation going to be? Okay, I know you didn't have a game last weekend and they're off on international duty now, but the games come thick and fast, and in particular for someone like Declan, who is so important to you, but is also probably going to play 90 minutes for England in every game at the World Cup.
Well, I think it's really important that we try and use the players the best we can. I mean, the boys who were in international duty in the summer had a really late return. Declan especially, we gave Declan even more time off to recover, because I think last season most of our players played roughly 60 games last year. So our players have had a real busy time. But also what that does, it builds a bit of resilience as far as playing goes as well. You know, they get used to the games, they get used to regular games. And from that point of view, you know, we hope that it will improve Declan. But on the other side of it, we know that we're always trying to look after them as well.
I mentioned Declan, who's obviously in the England squad. Jarrod's in there again as well. Hasn't quite hit the height of last season just yet, but good that Gareth's kept faith with him. He's back in that squad. Well,
if I'd end, I'd want to say about Jarrod, I would say I'm just beginning to see Jarrod getting back to it. There's little bits coming back and there's signs of it. And if you think of last season, you know, and I've said this a few times, but I thought at the start of last season, after the Euros, I thought Declan Rice was fantastic at the start of the season last year, whereas a lot of England players didn't find their levels quite as much. So it can happen. I think the international football, you know, maybe the little rest time they get during the summer can play a part in that. But I'm just beginning to see good signs from Jarrod, and hopefully I'm right.
Just one final one from me. That Chelsea game must seem like a long time ago now, given everything that's happened in the meantime. But when you look at the Chelsea game, the Spurs game before that, I mean, that could easily have been 4 points. It ended up being 1 point. But there are signs that the performances have been much better than the results so far, and you've clearly turned a corner in the league.
Well, yeah, and that's what I think that as well. I think that, you know, we played well against Tottenham, against a really good Tottenham team as we know, and we played well against Chelsea, but just couldn't quite get it over the line in the end, and you know, things went against us completely that day. So there's not much you can do about it. But I think from the players' point of view, we're gaining in confidence. We feel as if we're beginning to get the new players a little bit more integrated and getting used to us. So overall, you know, we need the points, so the points are always the thing what you get judged on. But I think our performances are improving at this present time.
Thanks very much, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. We'll go to Ian from PLP.
Morning, David. I wonder how much of a benefit you feel these 2 victories in Europe have been over the course of the last week, when Everton, who you faced at the weekend, haven't played.
Well, I think that qualifying for Europe's should be seen as a great thing, but obviously the difficulty side of it is playing on Thursday and a Sunday, and it's not a great scheduling, but it's always been there for as long as I can remember with the Europa League. I think now with the Conference League as well, then it's obviously the same situation. But what I'd say is that I think we're beginning to get well used to it now. I think the players are more resilient with the way they go about their work. You know, you try to improve your squad, which means that you can chop and change the players a little bit more as well. So I'm hoping that through time and experience that we're getting a little bit better with it.
And it being 2 victories, scoring goals as well, I guess that's going to benefit everyone's confidence going back to Premier League action as well.
Oh, I think so. I think last year I felt that we won our group last year in the Europa League. It gave everybody confidence, it gave everybody minutes in the pitch. You try to give your players a chance, and a lot of the players sometimes who maybe are not maybe always first choice get a chance to show what they can do, and they feel as if they're getting regular football as well. So that does help. But on the other side of that, you know, it's lots of games, lots of preparation, quick turnarounds, lots of recovery sessions. But hey, I'd rather it be that way than the other.
What have you made of Everton's start to the season? You've won there the last 2 seasons. Are you facing a different team this time around?
Well, I think Everton are a little bit like myself. I think there's a rebuild going on. I think Frank's starting to put bits together. You they've obviously not had as much money to spend as what they've had in maybe past seasons. But I think they've brought in some really good players. Connor Cody, Tarkovsky are very good Premier League players, really experienced players. They brought in Anana, who we liked also. So I think they've brought in a lot of Premier League players who are used to it. Dwight McNeil, Moppy. So I think that Frank's putting together a strong side, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time for all those things to work. And I've been saying that myself. We've brought in new players, and it does take a little bit of time just to get it going.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Go to Ian from TalkSport.
Hi, David.
No, Simon.
Simon.
One of the players that you brought in, Maxwel, Cornet, sometimes he was a little bit in and out at Burnley last season. Has he got to get used to the levels that you're at, and obviously got an assist and won the penalty last night? Is that the kind of contribution you're looking for?
Well, actually, his last few games he's got his assists and contributed and got us a penalty in the last game at home against Steaua Bucharest. So he's started to make a contribution already. And I think it's probably his lateness back into pre-season, getting him back in condition, really. And I don't mean that he was badly out of condition, I just mean that he was more not game ready, hadn't had any match minutes. But I think we're still finding our way with him as well. We're looking exactly where we think best to use him, trying to fit him in. But if his goal had counted against Chelsea, which it should have done, he hits the post in that game as well. He's already shown us that he's someone who can get a goal. And if you look at his record at Burnley, in a short time at Burnley was very good. And his goals for Lyon prior to that were really the things which sort of helped get me thinking that, he would be a good player to bring to the club.
I mean, is he the type of player, you played for the last 2 or 3 seasons really, really well, and then, it's just kind of keeping that level all the time, and maybe Cornet at Burnley didn't have to do that, but he's going to have to do that at West Ham, isn't he?
Yeah, look, we've had a great 2.5 years or so, and this is probably as big a turnaround I feel as if I've had at any club in my time, where I've had to, for different reasons, people moved out, people were coming in, we've had to change it round. So this is probably the bedding in period for us, which is never easy, because you're trying to find your way, find exactly what people can do. But Max is in that group as well, and we're getting used to him, and he's getting used to us as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. And just finally, Ian from TalkSport.
Hi David, how are you?
Morning, good, thank you.
Good win last night. How much now is there competition all over the pitch for places all over the pitch? I'm thinking even in goal, Lucas Fabianski has probably now got Areola breathing right down his neck, and right through to obviously up front, but you've got a big decision to make on Sunday about whether Antonio starts or Skamaka, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we've been after. We've not had that for probably the last couple of years, or certainly not as much. But what we always have had here at West Ham is we've had a great team spirit, a great group of lads who have been committed, and the boys who haven't been involved all the time have done really well. You only need to look at last year in the Europa League, how well so many of them done in the games. I think we have got much stronger competition, and what I've been sort of saying to other parts of the media there is that, it's still bringing in 8 or 9 players and trying to bed them in quite quickly is not an easy thing to do. And now and again, 1 or 2 of them will hit the ground running, and we've got that situation. There'll be now again 1 or 2 who are not quite. But I think the players we've brought in will make a big difference, and it just needs a little bit of time. But we need to try and get the points on the board in the Premier League. We need to start getting results. We've shown better signs with our performances against Tottenham and Chelsea recently. So hope we can pick up, and the win last night hopefully will help our confidence.
We always hear managers saying about you want competition replacements. You want to have, say, 4 strikers or 3 strikers, so you've got a competition. But then you've got the problem of keeping people happy and stopping people knocking on the door every week asking why they're not playing. Yeah. Look,
it's a question and it's a thought where you always hear it, and if you look back, I've always chosen to have a smaller squad for different reasons, because I think then it keeps your players playing regular, it keeps a lot of them happy, but probably the biggest part of it is it makes room for young players to get an opening to either get on the bench or get small chances at different times. If you have a big squad, then you need to be able to try and utilise them and use them as much as we can. What we can do is utilise them because of these Conference League games and got the chances to do so. So we've got competition, we need it. If we're going to try and challenge the boys at the top again, we're going to have to get these players playing at their best. And if you don't play well, then you'll find yourself not in the team.
Finally, a couple on the game on Sunday. First of all, do you always still enjoy your trips back to Goodison? Or by any means, the first you've made, you've probably been there more as a visiting manager now than you care to remember. But do you still enjoy it?
I hugely enjoy it. It was a massive part of my career at Propno. I had 11.5 years at Everton as manager, and nowadays, if you said that to many managers, it's very few managers will get to that stage at any one club. So it was a big part. I've only got thanks and good feelings for Everton for what they've done for me and my family. So always look forward to going back. But I manage West Ham, and my job's to go and win, and that's what I'm going to try and do.
Your clashes against Frank Lampard, I mean, both when he was a player and you were a manager, and then on the managerial side, I mean, it's always nice to get one over on him. Yeah, but I'm probably glad he's not a player anymore, that's for sure, because he had an incredible goal scoring record for Chelsea. So that's where I remember him from, and obviously he was a top player. So we've had maybe not quite so many as managers yet, but Frank's building a new team at Everton as well, and they're going in their own direction. So I wish him well, but not at the moment, that's for sure. Good luck Sunday and enjoy your international break.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Okay, camera off, please.